Прошу прощения.
Здесь весь ряд свободен. Только выше есть, чтобы это было. Там кто?
Не, ну тут только одно место.
Давай за ним, да не это.
Ты сказал, что не занят.
Что ты делаешь?
Не, попросили ровно держать камеру.
Ровно держишь камеру? Думаю, написали бы, если нет. Нам нужны вопросы все. Во-первых,
Такая говорит, ну я понимаю, что если у них второй сезон,
Чего нет? Пока никого нет, пока нет.
Я наоборот надеюсь, это слово.
Мне кажется, ты больше полезной информации узнаешь в своем сне, чем на пресс-конференции с русским журналистом.
Проверка звука. Раз, два, три, четыре. Оригинал. Оригинал. Раз, два, три, четыре, пять. Тест, тест, тест. Раз, два, три. Тест. Раз, два. Раз, два. Раз, два, три. Раз, два, три. Оригинал. Раз, два, три.
походу, знаешь.
Потому что мне неудобно будет так качественно вопрос скажу. Отсюда вообще ничего не видно. Причем все упало. Нам просто в принципе качество.
Мы просто выстраивали сейчас какие-то смотрели, как может
Саша, я видела там.
Ой. Назвал трансляцию. Конференция с тайны, если случайно. Ну о чем думаю, так и называю. Господи. Кто такой?
Алена.
Так.
Начал сейчас.
Доброе утро, господа. Человек вам сказал привет. Не растекаясь мыслью по древу, мы поблагодарим Райана за то, что он приехал к нам в такие тяжелые времена. Я имею в виду мороз и снежные заносы, хотя он канадец, он с этим совсем превосходно знаком. И предлагаю начинать задавать вопросы. Кто первый? У нас 40 минут, я думаю, мы будем вовремя. Да, пожалуйста.
Да, здравствуйте. Георгий Кашин, телеканал Life News. Райан, здравствуй. Прежде чем перейти к вопросу по фильму, хотел бы узнать, с кем у тебя получилось выпить рюмочку водки, как ты заявил в своем твиттере в Москве?
Some of the team I got to spend yesterday with seeing Moscow, but I'm very, very sad to report that I did not drink vodka. That's fair. I know that's like going to Canada and not drinking beer. So for that, I'm very sorry. But the day is still young. I'm not opposed to having some lunch.
Райан, чем, по-твоему, такой супергерой может понравиться русскому зрителю?
Well, I think, Дэдпул occupies a space in the Marvel universe that no other superhero has or could ever occupy. frankly, I'm still surprised that the studio allowed us to make this movie. I know how big superhero movies are here in Russia, and I know how popular they are all over the world. So, you know, I think Дэдпул, what makes him uniquely qualified to capture viewers' hearts is the fact that when viewers watch Дэдпул, they feel like that's them up there. They know they're so savvy to comic book movies, and when they're seeing Дэдпул go up there and actually sort of make fun of them or make fun of themselves, they feel like it's them. And I think that that's a special experience for the viewer right now, and it's pretty rare to have that experience.
Ты из Канады, как все знают, и ты поклонник хоккея. Как тебе сборная России по хоккею, и кто твой любимый российский хоккеист?
Well, you know, when I was growing up, we had Raianon come over to the Vancouver Canucks, and he was huge for me. Pavel Bure, of course, was a hero in Vancouver. I mean, he was one of the best hockey players to ever play. So I love those guys. I mean, I loved watching them. Obviously, Canada and Russia are the two countries in the world that I think produce the most amount of hockey players per capita. It's pretty shocking. But, I wasn't the biggest hockey fan, so that's why I had to leave Canada. That's why they asked me to leave.
Добрый день, Космору. Фильм основан на комиксах, а комиксы любят в основном мальчики. Чем будет фильм интересен для девушек, тем более, что он выходит накануне Дня Святого Валентина?
I think it's completely untrue that comic book movies are for boys. I know just as many girls that love them. I know just as many girls that love them with or without a romantic angle. So I think we're selling our sisters short by saying, you know, that they need a sort of a Valentine's Day angle to see the movie. But, you know, I think everybody's going to find something in the film. I mean, the movie sort of covered all the bases in terms of, you know, action, comedy, romance. It's the only thing that I think distinguishes it, you know, from a proper sort of studio 4-quadrant kind of film is the fact that, you know, it's a little bit racier. It's designed not exactly for little kids.
Здравствуйте, Давид меня зовут. Хотел задать вопрос. Существует стереотип о комиксах. Люди считают, что они предназначены для детей. Они не серьезные, не могут рассказывать о чем-то серьезном. Действительно ли так? Вы согласны с этой позицией? Если нет, то объясните почему. Спасибо.
Comic book movies could serve to sort of laugh at themselves just a little bit more. I mean, so many of the characters that you see in the comic book films these days, they all talk like this. That's very serious. So, I don't know. I think it's nice to see them sort of lighten up occasionally. You know, Marvel tends to do that sometimes, and certainly DC has its moments of light as well. But no, I don't think they're aimed at kids at all. I think kids love them. But that's what makes comic book movies so ubiquitous and popular all over the world is that kids and adults enjoy them together. So, you know, when you go to superhero movies at the theater, typically you have a nice mix of both. So.
Привет, Райан. Скажи, пожалуйста, почему тебе удалось сыграть классного супергероя только с 4-го раза? И можно ли сделать селфи с тобой, когда все закончится?
А вам не понравился опыт Райана в «Зеленом фонаре»?
Wow. 4th time's a charm. Yeah, you know, superhero movies are they're a genre unto themselves. They're not just, you know, superhero movies. They're sort of, I liken them to, you know, doing a comedy or a drama, or, you know, there's sort of a vast spectrum of movies that can fall within that category. But no, I've had wildly differing degrees of success in comic book movies, and you know, I'm really lucky that I got to play this one. But this one's been an 11-year journey for me. I've been trying to get this made for 11 years in the studio, and heard the word no so many times I forgot what it meant. So, you know, getting that green light and being allowed to make this movie a year ago was, for me, was like a dream come true. What's that? The selfie? Maybe we can do it after the press conference? But sure, I'm happy to do it.
Райан, здравствуйте. Меня зовут Ольга, журнал «Стархит». Райан, у меня такой вопрос. В фильме ваш герой очень много и так достаточно скабрезно шутит. А в жизни вы вообще любите юмор? Часто ли шутите? Можете как-то постебаться над своими друзьями, например?
Well, Дэдпул, the reason I've been attached to it for 11 years is that he's sort of like an alter ego for me. Sometimes I have trouble turning it off. So I like humor, I like dark humor, I like light humor, so I like it all. You know, I think, yeah, my wife sometimes says that to me. She says, who am I talking to right now, Дэдпул or my husband? So it's a character that's very close to my heart, maybe a little too close. Some might say. Yeah.
Hero, I think that you likes to wear a mask, and I want to present you a mask of this fallen.
Oh, that's nice. That's a horse's head. This is in America, the mafia does this. It means you're about to die. It's a bad omen in America. They leave it in your bed. Thank you for this. Thank you very much. I did not expect it. I don't think anybody expected it. Maybe I wish the conference would try it out.
Давайте правой стороне дадим, пожалуйста, слово.
Hello, good morning, Ryan.
Hi.
Очень приятно видеть вас в Москве. И как ваша жена отнеслась к фильму? И вы в жизни такой же badass, как она думает?
Wow. In real life, absolutely not. But she loved it. She just saw it actually last week for the first time. We did a fan screening of the film, and that was pretty amazing for her. I mean, she's been on this road with me for a long time, and I know she's very proud to see that this movie was not only made the way I hoped it would be made, but the way all comic book fans and fans of Дэдпул hoped it would be made. It was made the first time sort of the wrong way in Wolverine Origins years ago, and you know, while that was no fault of the filmmakers, that was more of a studio decision. Still, it feels very this retribution in getting to make it the right way now. So she was thrilled. She was just bent over laughing the whole movie. She loved it.
Доброе утро. Добро пожаловать в Россию. Меня зовут Марсель Македонский. У меня вопрос. Вы играли «Зеленого фонаря», и сейчас вы сыграли Дэдпула. Можете сравнить эти два опыта? Спасибо.
Well, they're difficult to compare. Дэдпул had a script. Green Lantern didn't, and you know, but that sometimes happens in films, you know. But Green Lantern had a poster, and an actor, and a director. But the studio just felt like we'll sort of figure it out as we go, and that's a really difficult. Those are difficult circumstances to work under and to produce something quality under. So Green Lantern was frustrating to make, although everybody worked as hard as they could on the movie. It was still very frustrating for us because I don't think, by anyone's measure, it really lived up to what it was supposed to be. But Дэдпul's been. We wrote the script 6 years ago, myself and Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, all together, and you know, we've had it in place this whole time. I mean, very little has even changed in the script in the 6 years until we got the green light. So this film went on a really weird journey, which was the studio just kept saying no and no and no. And then they gave us a little bit of money after we wrote a great script, and they said, make a test reel, you can show us something. So we made this little test footage, which they also just ignored for another 3 years. And then it somehow, you know, a year and a half ago, leaked onto the internet, and the fans saw it, and they went crazy for it, and the studio was strong-armed. I mean, the fans are the reason we got this movie made. They own this movie. They forced the studio to say yes, and they forced the studio to give us just enough money to make it. And we did it, so great.
Кстати, о производстве в картине «Дэдпул» Райан выступает еще и в роли продюсера. Может быть, имеет смысл спросить, это новая специальность кинематографа для Райана?
Well, no. I mean, some actors do that occasionally. This is a little different because Дэдпул I developed as well as starting, so it was a slightly different road than a lot of actors take. But you know, I had a very specific idea how it needed to be made, and I had a very specific idea of how to use the very small amount of money that the studio gave us. I mean, they gave us you know, the budget that most superhero movies would use on illegal drugs. And that's all we had to make our movie. But you know, having a visual effects coordinator as a director allowed us to basically put a movie that looked like a $150 million movie on the screen, even though we shot it for next to nothing. And producing that movie was part of the reason I needed to be there in that capacity, because you know, every dime, every cent, every penny for this film needed to be on the screen. And in a lot of movies, there can sometimes be quite a bit of waste. So it was partly that. It was also creative. I just wanted to make sure. I'd been down this road with the studio before, where I played Дэдпул, and they screwed it up, frankly. And I wanted to be there to make sure that what we put on the screen makes the most diehard fan, Дэдпул fan, happy. And that's what I was doing.
Райан, здравствуй, одно радио России. Во-первых, позволь поздравить тебя с этим успехом, ты добился этого фильма. В том числе, я думаю, от многих девушек, которые тоже дежурят подобными. И мой вопрос в следующем. Дэдпул получился очень жестким фильмом. Как ты думаешь, повлияет ли он на остальную индустрию фильмов по комиксам, будут ли они более жесткие? И вторая часть моего вопроса. А если бы не было вот этой вот разницы в правах, с кем из всей огромной семьи Марвел ты бы хотел сделать тимап? Не секрет, что многие ждут тебя с Человеком-пауком.
Wow, Spider-Man. I would love to have a team up with Spider-Man. I'd like to high-five him right in the face. But that's more complicated than it sounds, because it's, you know, these are different studios that own the rights and all that sort of thing, so I let them figure it out. But there are plans for some Дэдпул team-up stuff I can't really comment on right now, but I do know that you know, Hollywood is very famous for, they'll just copy whatever works. So by introducing a solo X-Men universe character like Дэдпул, and it being a rated R in the United States and 18+ here, you know, when that works, then suddenly you're going to see a lot more of it. You know, if that works, that's just how it goes down in Hollywood. So, you know, you might see more comic book movies trying that out. I don't think you're going to see the Avengers being a hard rated R, but that would be sort of suicidal for Marvel. But I think you could probably see some other kind of lighter ancillary characters try that out. It'd be nice to see a Wolverine movie rated R. It'd be nice to see a X-Force movie as well at some point rated R.
Ну, давайте правая сторона опять.
Райан, здравствуйте. Я тут. Где-то метро, Любовь Егорова. Если бы зеленый фонарь подрался бы с Дэдпулом, кто из них победил?
Wow, that's a good question. I think, you know, that's a really tough one, actually. I like to think Дэдпул would win. I think Дэдпул would probably infuriate the Green Lantern to the point where Green Lantern would probably take his own life with his magic ring. I'm guessing. Yeah.
Еще один вопрос. Ты уже живешь с Дэдпулом 11 лет. Я уверена, что ты с ним породнился. Вот это твой первый визит в Москву. Как тебе, Райан, Москва? Что тебя удивило в Москве? И как Дэдпул Москва, и что его удивило в Москве и москвичах?
Well, I'm surprised that people know Дэдпул this well here. You know, he's big. They love him. You know, whenever you go to a new country for the first time, you just assume nobody knows who the hell you are or anything like that. So it's been nice having such a warm welcome here. And one of the great pleasures of my job is that I get to go to countries and places and see them in ways that I never would before. So to come to Moscow has been really special for me. I love it. And my brother is here as well, and we wandered all around the city yesterday, and it was just, my only sadness is that we couldn't get to St. Petersburg. I'd love to see St. Petersburg. I love the Russian people. They're among the toughest people, I think, of the planet, and so I admire them greatly for that.
Hello. Вероника Скулихина, Россия-1. Дэдпул шутит по поводу актера Райана Рейнольдса. Кто придумал эту шутку? И вы правда считаете, что Райан Рейнольдс — это актер, которого берут в первую очередь за лицо?
That was my joke. Most of the jokes that involve me or Green Lantern are me that I've come up with. But no, I just think, in that moment, I think I made fun of another celebrity, and I thought, I can't do that without also making fun of myself. So you balance it out a little bit like that. But the writing experience in the movie has been a lot of fun. I think people are really going to love the extras, the home entertainment extras after the movie's coming on. For every joke, we wrote 10 more. And then there are some jokes that will have us all arrested, which I don't know will ever see the light of day. Some jokes that I do believe the US government would have me killed if I said out loud. So I hope some of them get to see some action at some point. But it was the movie just gave us so many possibilities. We could say or do anything. I mean, that's the real superpower of Дэдпул, is that he gets to say or do anything he wants. In a Marvel kind of X-Men universe, which was really special. We loved it.
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Марина. Скажите, пожалуйста, много ли было на съемочной площадке импровизации и сколько из этого вошло в итоговый монтаж фильма?
A lot of them are just accidents. A lot of them are just me goofing around. I think there's a line where I say, I say, it's funny how there's only 2 of you ever here at the X Mansion. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford another X-Man. I mean, these are things I'm just joking to sort of bother the president of the studio back in Los Angeles. I don't expect them to be in the movie, but they ended up in the movie because they just work. So there's hundreds and hundreds of those. And, some of them are mine, some of them are TJ Miller's, some of them are the writers, everybody's just sort of working together. It's myself, Tim Miller, Rhett Reese, and Paul Warner are the guys that have been there since the beginning. We all just kind of huddle up every day and come up with hundreds of different things to do. So it's just like a big sandbox. I mean, the whole movie was just playing in a sandbox or a playground. It was really a wonderful way to work. Yeah.
Уходим налево, да, пожалуйста.
Добрый день, Герасимов Вячеслав, фестиваль Комик-Кон, Санкт-Петербург, Россия. Роберт Де Ниро научился играть на саксофоне перед съемками «Нью-Йорк, Нью-Йорк», а Натали Портман занялась балетом ради роли в «Черном лебеде». Райан, на какие личные достижения пошел ты в процессе подготовки к роли Дэдпула и какие черты его характера остались у тебя после завершения съемок? Спасибо.
Oh, wow. I can probably swear in more colorful ways than I ever could before. I insult people to the point of them drawing blood. I don't know if I didn't learn how to pick up any instruments or anything, but we did have one of the stunt guys on there who taught me how to do a standing backflip. That was a dream come true for me. I've always wanted to be able to do a backflip just standing on the ground, and he taught me that. I would do it here, but my pants would rip off. It would be very embarrassing. So, no.
Давайте право.
Доброе утро, Райан. Меня зовут Иван. Я хотел бы сказать следующее. Я уверен в успехе этого фильма «Дэдпул». Уверен, будет 2-я, 3-я часть. Но если будет, например, 4-я, захотели ли вы дальше сниматься в продолжении или выберете более драматическую роль в другом фильме? Спасибо.
Like I said, this has been so long for me. I love it. I've been playing Дэдпул for 10 years already, even though just nobody was filming it. So I'd be fine filming another 10 years officially on the clock. I love it. I really genuinely love it. And I think it comes across on the screen. I love this opportunity. I love what I do. Even the days where I had to wear the scar makeup head to toe, and that's generally 8 or 9 hours in a makeup chair and then another 16 hours on a film set. So some of these days were 25 hours long. I still was having the time of my life. So I would happily do this until I'm in a wheelchair.
Здравствуйте, Таня Мац, Старскетч. Значит, во время съемок вы встретили мальчика Тони. Он является юным фанатом Дэдпула. И вопрос такой, собираетесь ли вы дальше посещать различные больницы или благотворительные мероприятия, чтобы как-то поддерживать своих юных фанатов? Спасибо.
Yeah. Well, one of the interesting things about Дэдпул is he's a character that has cancer, and he's a character that was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And for whatever reason, I've been, a lot of these organizations have reached out to me, and he resonates with kids, with, young kids who have cancer, and you know, the only problem is that you sort of go, okay, well, I want to be involved in these kids' lives and I want to meet them, but are their parents going to be upset about the rating or the content in the movie or that sort of thing? But these kids are in such a a bad situation that their parents don't give a shit if their kid watches the movie. So I've had the opportunity to meet so many of these kids that are obviously very ill, but just getting an opportunity to kind of brighten their day for a little while is, for me, it's just such a dream come true. I had so many of them on set when we were shooting. I put 2 of them in the film. The first person to ever see the movie actually was a kid named Connor who lives in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. His wish to make a Wish Foundation was to see the movie. And obviously with the time situation with a lot of kids that are sick, you got to get there right away. And so he was the first kid that saw the movie about 3 weeks ago in his hospital room. And it was just a blast. For me, it was the greatest experience in the world. It makes the job so much better. I know that sounds a little cheesy and hokey, but I love that part. I want to continue to do as much as I can for those kids, because I think they see the character as wish fulfillment, as someone that they wish they could be, and an attitude that they wish they could have while they're going through their own struggles.
Я здесь.
I'm here too.
Скажите, пожалуйста, в «Дэдпуле» вы играли вместе с Джиной Карами, и я думаю, что многие из находящихся здесь знают о ее бойцовском прошлом. Больно ли вам было от ее ударов? И второй вопрос, насколько сложнее играть комедийную роль или все-таки драматическую? Спасибо.
Well, Gina Carano is a very talented fighter, and she plays Angel Dust in the film, and that was exciting for me. I'm very physical. I love getting down and dirty. I love doing as many of the stunts myself as I could. But there's a scene where I'm hanging up, my hands are tied, and she's punching me in the ribs, and I remember, and I say this to a lot of actors, make a little contact, just a little bit, nothing crazy or anything like that. She just didn't want to do that. She didn't feel comfortable. I finally had to beg her. I said, just a little bit. It's okay. Don't worry. It makes it look real. I felt I could almost see my dead grandfather after she hit me. I mean, that was. I don't know why she doesn't continue fighting, because she's very good at it. She can punch very, very hard, and that was an experience I wasn't happy to do again. But what's funny about these kinds of fighters is that the nicest people. They're so much nicer than a pacifist. So she's just, when you meet her, she's just all puppy dogs and ice cream. You think she's going to be this tough girl, but no, she was absolutely amazing. And you had a second part of your question, which was, what was that? The second part.
Какая роль легче, драматическая или комедийная?
Oh, both are very. Comedy is much more technical than drama. Drama is. Just anything goes, but both have to be steeped in honesty in order to resonate with an audience. So they're both difficult, but I enjoy them both. I've been lucky to kind of be able to do both.
Правая сторона.
Райан, доброе утро. В Москве меня зовут Виктор, журнал Rolling Stone. Ты сказал, что тебе очень нравится Россия, и ты под большим впечатлением от русских людей, вот немножечко фантазии, импровизации. Скажи, пожалуйста, а что бы ты делал, если бы Дэдпул был русский? Был бы он, не знаю, например, жителем Петербурга и сотрудником Эрмитажа, или Old Russian Tradition, водка, балалайка, баня и прочее. Как ты это видишь, интересно?
Well, I think Дэдпул will make a very good Russian, to be honest. I know Colossus is a good Russian in our movie, but no, I think Дэdpul would probably. I have a feeling though, after a few years, you guys might ask him to leave. I think he'd get into a lot of trouble here. Russia's I've in the very small amount of time I've been here, I've seen you could get in a lot of trouble here. It's one of those cities that has some of the most beautiful architecture in the world. There's so much to do, but what a nightlife, I think Дэdpul will probably take over the nightlife here. It gets ugly very quick. Oh, I think we're going to try to do that. I'm not in charge of the schedule, so I'm happy to do a selfie if we have the time. I'm happy to do 1,000 selfies if we have the time. Yeah.
Мы можем закончить на 5 минуточек раньше пресс-конференцию.
Oh, my brother's in the front row. There he is. That's my brother. There he is. Yeah, there he is. He's a police officer. When I was younger, he handcuffed me to the fridge.
Так что ведите себя хорошо.
Yeah. Hello.
Райан, я хотела спросить, не было ли на площадке конфликта между Райаном Рейнольдсом и Райаном Рейнольдсом артистом? Например, у Рейнольдса актера какой-то непонятно раздутый райдер, а у продюсера ограниченный бюджет. Или Рейнольдс сам будет делать все трюки, а продюсер важно, чтобы он тут целый. Как решались такие конфликты?
Yeah. There is a little issue there, yeah. The producer thinks Ryan Reynolds is an absolute asshole. Prima donna, his trailer's too big. No, they got along all right. They had the same goals, I think, so, you know. But I know how that is. Sometimes you have to kind of reconcile the two. A lot of producers and actors don't like each other, but yeah, the producer won on this one. So I bossed myself around very well.
И они между собой не ругались.
Oh, there was some. Well, the great thing about being a producer is that you're, you know, when you work a 25-hour day, you're allowed to, the next day you're allowed to stay. I think I'm going to come in an hour later. That was nice. Yeah.
Добрый день, Евгений Чугуин, blogger.radio.ru. Дорогой Рай, скажите, пожалуйста, веду вопрос к продюсеру. Считается, что продюсер плохая профессия и плохо относится к профессии. Менялось ли у вас отношение к профессии продюсера? Еще, как известно, в Америке его запретили под этиком Аль, у нас в России его 18+ идет, для него вообще запретили. Были у вас такие... Были у вас потребности и возможности немножко смягчить юмор или некоторые сцены взрослых Дэдпуля для того, чтобы снизить эти...
Yeah. No, that's a good question. Yes, first of all, producers, by and large, in my experience, do absolutely nothing except occupy more oxygen on the set and eat more food. But some of them, you know, can be very instrumental, and you know, I think if they're really into the material and if they really love it, they can guard it and safeguard it. And that was my job. So, but yes, there was tremendous pressure to make the movie PG-13, to make the movie for kids. You know, the studio said you can have so much more money if you make this for kids. And there's been a lot of in the news media, there's been a lot about parents writing petitions wanting us to do a PG-13 version of the film. But we just wouldn't be doing the character justice, and we accepted a much smaller amount of money to make the movie so we could do it the right way. So we didn't want to sacrifice that, and if that means losing some of the revenue or some of the audience, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. We wanted to make the Дэдпул the right way, and that's all that mattered to us.
Да, пожалуйста.
Здравствуйте, Надежда Маркалова, startfilm.ru. Расскажите, пожалуйста, немножко о процессе съемок. Может быть, что было самым сложным во время исполнения трюков или что-нибудь со съемочной площадки? Спасибо.
I think the most difficult day was the days where we shot in the warehouse that was on fire. There's a large fight scene between Дэдпул and Ajax, and I'm not wearing any clothes, and that's just already a nerve-wracking experience. We sort of drew a little bit from Eastern Promises, the Cronenberg movie there. There was a fight scene between Viggo Mortensen and several other guys where he's naked, and we sort of felt like there's nothing on the planet more vulnerable than a naked man fighting, and also scary. Like if I had a home intruder or something in the middle of the night, I think running at him naked would be much more frightening than if I were wearing a nightgown. So, you know, it's that was, I would say, the hardest scene to shoot though, because it was hot. Everything was on fire. I was covered in makeup, head to toe, scar makeup for Дэдпул, and the day, like I said, was, I think that was a 25-hour shooting day for me. The crew worked 15, but they're long, and those are tough scenes. The stunt stuff is usually the toughest. And then the other part is the screenwriting process of this movie extends well into the editing, and that was the other thing that was, I think, most challenging for us. Was really, we're dealing with a fractured narrative in Дэdпул, where we're going back in time and forwards in time and different things like that. So the editing process was a group effort that we were living in this room for 4 straight months.
Райан, привет, меня зовут Стас Оксани, Господа.
Hello.
Такой вопрос по поводу костюма. Вот во время съемок он плотно, в принципе, прилегал к тебе. Каково было бегать, прыгать постоянно? То есть потел ли у тебя, не знаю, там, соски натирал, еще что-то в таком плане? Каково было?
Yeah, you mean you can imagine it might be uncomfortable running around in a red body condom? Yeah, it is. It's as uncomfortable as you can imagine. The suit was engineered. I mean, it's engineering to make a suit like that. And the first time I saw it, I cried. And I'm not even making that up. I genuinely cried because the journey had been so long, and I'd always dreamed that if we got to make Дэдпул, the suit would be the most faithful adaptation from comic book to film ever made. And Russ Schenkel, the guy who created the suit, he did that, and that made me cry. And then I hated Russ for the rest of the shoot every time I wore it because it was the tightest suit you can imagine. My eyes would bulge putting it on every morning. And the hardest part was when we went through 9 of the suits shooting the movie. I would destroy them. There were so many stunts and the suits would get destroyed. The hardest part was when you put on a new suit. So it takes about 3 days for it to warm up enough that you can really move normally. So for the first couple of days, you feel like you're wearing a suit made of wood and steel. But my nipples were fine.
Да, пожалуйста, слева. Тут, да. Есть микрофон у вас? Да, пожалуйста. Нет, тогда право.
Jeez, I thought you were asking my brother for a question from my husband.
Конечно, спросим следующий вопрос.
Добрый день, Супрага Гаджиева, ромитас.ру. У меня такой вопрос, я вот здесь.
Hello.
У меня такой вопрос. Значит, многие папы-актеры жалуются на то, что вот из-за занятости вот, на съемку фильма они мало времени проводят со своими детьми. А как у вас вот сложилось с дочкой? Вот, значит, время вот во время вот съемок и время провождения вот со своим ребенком. Насколько вам удается вот это все совместить? Спасибо.
I have a daughter? Kidding, I'm joking. No, it was great. It was fun. My whole family comes with me. My wife and I, and we don't work at the same time. And my daughter doesn't work because she's 1. So, no, we were just on set the whole time together. We try to do that. We try to just move as a family. And it's, it's one of the sacrifices of the job, which I'm happy to take. It means that, neither of us work maybe on everything we want to work on, but that's fine. Those are what we call good problems to have, So, yeah, I got to see her all the time. I mean, she would find it a little disturbing seeing me in the scar makeup. She cried the first couple of times because my voice sounds the same, but I look like, a testicle at a fight with a punching bag. So.
Продолжая тему семьи, Райан сказал, что брат его офицер полиции, а Райан консультировался со своим братом офицером полиции, когда готовил
Uh-oh. Yes, I did. On the movie Safe House, he helped me a lot. I was playing a CIA officer, obviously, which is a slightly different function than what my brother does, but he helped me a lot. He gives me a lot of crap about gun stuff. He's like, you're holding your gun wrong. Hold your gun right. Those are the things that really bother me. But otherwise, no, he was very helpful.
Здравствуйте, Райан. Светлана Соколенко от журнала «Около». Скажите, пожалуйста, большая часть песен в фильме, они очень современные, а тема любви стала именно «Wham! Careless Whisper». Почему?
Oh, that was old. I mean, the songs aren't really up to date. They're old. Shoot is 20 years old, I think, or 15 years old. The music was very, very important to us. It was meant to be very eclectic and very imbalanced in a strange way. So the Juice Newton song was the first thing we ever said. Myself and Paul, the writer, we sat around and we said, what's the song that we open the movie on? And I always wanted to do something with Juice Newton because I love that song. And it's so that was a holdover from 6 years ago. And then the rest, where the Salt and Pepper song is, Shoot, we really wanted Gwen Stefani's Hollaback Girl, but that was just way too expensive. And then we found Shoot, and it actually worked even better. And it was affordable for us. So, things sort of, this movie was very lucky. It had like a kind of destiny, and everything sort of worked out in a strange way.
У нас 2 вопроса остались, ребята.
Before, Да, я просто украду сцену, да, еще раз. My colleagues are going to kill me, but I have to ask. Когда ты впервые познакомился с Дэдпулом, и что происходит между тобой и Джекманом?
Well, Hugh Jackman is one of my closest friends, so we take the piss out of each other quite a bit. But, you know, I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for Stanley, and then I also wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for Hugh Jackman. You know, Hugh Jackman is kind of the granddaddy of the whole X-Men universe. I mean, he's a character that he's the most beloved actor and character in the X-Men universe. And what he's done is essentially been a pioneer. I mean, he really ushered in a new kind of wave of superhero films. So, you know, first, I'm truly actually immensely grateful for everything Hugh Jackman has done for not just me, but for the Marvel comic universe and particularly X-Men.
When was the first time you met Deadpool?
The first time I met Deadpool, well, it was 11 years ago. I was given the comics. A guy told me, he said, you know, you are Deadpool. And I said, who's Deadpool? And he slapped a bunch of comics in my hand. And I read it, and I couldn't stop, you know. And then, he was a studio executive. He wanted to make Deadpool the movie, and then he was fired, like the studio executives are. And that's when the movie just sort of sat on the shelf for so long. So I was desperate to find another studio executive that saw what I saw.
У вас вопрос? Дэдпул. Да, давайте. Мы не можем вот этот вопрос.
Меня и так слышно, я думаю. Доктор Райан, оптимист, меня зовут Шуба. Скажите, пожалуйста, есть такой комикс «Дэдпул убивает классическую литературу». Да, если бы его экранизировали следом, вы бы прошлись по русской классике, может быть, бросили Анну Каренину под поезд, или участвовали в войне, или ввязались в наш фольклор, там, с богатырями бы затусили.
You want to see a fight between Deadpool and Dostoevsky? Let's do it. Get your iPhones out and shoot it today. Shoot it at the Kremlin. Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, they've done in the comics. They've done Deadpool kills the Marvel universe. So you know, why not shoot it the literary universe? I mean, certainly, Russia's no stranger to great literature. So I'm imagining we could just do installments for a decade only in Russia before we move on to London. Anyway, yeah.
Еще вопрос. Любимое блюдо Дэдпула — чимичанга. Если бы он жил в России, полюбил бы он пельмени, холодец, что? Шаверму, может.
Что понравилось Райану?
Да, что вам понравилось, Райан, из еды, из местных?
He would eat all of the Ural dumplings. Right? I don't know. He's I imagine he would, you know. Chimichanga is a funny one because Deadpool doesn't actually like chimichangas. He likes saying the word chimichanga. So we'd have to find if you could suggest a Russian meal that just sounds kind of funny. I'm sure that's the one Deadpool would go for. Borscht is too easy. Gotta go with something better than that. What is it? Somebody yelled it out. Hachapuri.
Последний вопрос. Конкурс на самый хулиганский вопрос, пожалуйста. Да, пожалуйста.
Райан, привет. Хочу тебя спросить о твоих фанатах. Но для начала должен тебе передать личное hello из Самары и девушки Маши. Она меня попросила. Вот. В одном интервью ты сказал, что Дэдпул самый близкий тебе персонаж. Скажи, а ты к другим фанатам его не ревнуешь?
Что вы имеете в виду?
Ну, не испытывает ли Райан ревность к своему персонажу, когда кто-то другой им восторгается?
Когда фанаты Дэдпула, их больше, чем фанаты
Райана. Например, и так далее.
Окей. Oh, I see, yeah. Well, I'm married, Deadpool isn't. So if they love Deadpool, they can have that. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love when people are excited about Deadpool. I love it when people are excited as friends, sexually, just buddies, whatever. They can have Deadpool. He's pretty great.
Спасибо большое. Давайте поблагодарим Райана. Спасибо, что приехали. Спасибо.
Вы же вроде попали. Вот так вот главное его не утащить.
Ну не очень. Ну как, 64.